In the smoky underground gambling dens of the 1920s, one name commanded more fear and respect than any other: Al Capone. This is the story of how a small-time street thug transformed into the most powerful crime lord in American history.
Born in Brooklyn in 1919 to Italian immigrants, Alphonse Capone didn't start at the top. He was a kid from the streets, shaped by the harsh realities of a city that didn't give anything away for free. It was during his early years in the 5 Points gang that Capone earned his most famous trademark. After insulting a woman at a club, her brother slashed Capone across the left cheek with a knife. The 3 scars left behind gave him the nickname Scarface, a name he actually hated. To the world, he was a monster. To himself, he was simply a businessman, providing a service people wanted. In 1919, Capone left New York for Chicago at the invitation of Johnny Torrio. It was a move that would change the course of criminal history, placing him in the heart of a city ready to explode.
Chicago was a wide-open town, and with the start of Prohibition in 1920, the illegal liquor trade became a gold mine. Torrio and Capone weren't just gangsters, they were becoming CEOs of an illicit empire. The Chicago outfit used a combination of brutal violence and political bribery to crush their rivals. They bought off police, judges, and even the mayor, ensuring their trucks never stopped rolling. When an assassination attempt left Johnny Torrio shaken and retired, he handed the keys of the kingdom to his 26-year-old protege. Al Capone was now the undisputed boss of the Chicago underworld. Capone was different from other bosses. He loved the spotlight. He gave interviews, donated to charities, and opened soup kitchens during the Great Depression, cultivating an image as a man of the people.
But behind the public smile was a ruthless tactician. His war with the North Side Gang, led by Bugs Moran, turned the streets of Chicago into a literal battlefield.
The violence reached its peak on February 14, 1929. In what became known as the St. Valentine's Day Massacre, 7 of Moran's men were lined up against a wall and executed by men dressed as police.
The massacre was a turning point. Public opinion shifted, and the federal government, led by Herbert Hoover, made public enemy number 1 their top priority. The untouchables were coming for him.
But they couldn't catch him for the murders or the bootlegging. Instead, they took a different path. They followed the money. In the end, it wasn't a bullet that took down Capone, it was a pen. In 1931, Capone was convicted of income tax evasion. The man who had ruled Chicago with an iron fist was sentenced to 11 years in federal prison, eventually finding himself in the legendary Alcatraz. By the time he was released, his mind and body were ravaged by illness. The King of Chicago died in 1947, a shadow of the man who once held a city in his palm. His legacy remains a dark chapter in the American dream.